Hey guys, so today I'm quite excited. I managed to find a vintage cookbook from World War II called Potato Pete, and today I'm going to be trying out the Irish potato bread. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is, as always, washing the potatoes. So I'm giving them a good scrub in the sink just to be sure that they're all nice and clean. Now, the recipe doesn't specify, but I am just going to peel the potatoes first, as they are going to be mashed potatoes. And then the next thing I'm going to do is just cut them as well into smaller chunks, just so they cook more evenly. So following another part of it, I'm going to boil some salted water and then add the potatoes in. Now, normally I boil the water with the potatoes in it, so this was a bit scary with hot water coming everywhere, but I was trying to stick as authentic to the recipe as I could. So now I'm just putting it back up to a boil, and then I'm going to lower the heat and simmer it for 15 minutes. So after it's all boiled through, I'm just going to drain the water, and then it says to dry it off on the stove. So I just did that quickly by here. And it does say then to mash it with a fork. I don't have so much of a body strength, so I did it with the potato peeler. I did bring it back to the counter, as I just found that a bit easier to mash the potato. So then you need to mash it all the way down, leave it to cool until you can put your baby finger in there. So once it's cooled down enough that you can mould it with your hands, first you add some salt, and then you also sift in flour. Again, it doesn't give any exact measurements. It just says sift in enough flour till it turns into a dough. So I added that by here, and then I kneaded the mixture into a dough. I did add a little bit of extra flour to make it more of a dough-like texture. As a hot plate to cook them on, I'm actually going to be using my grandmother's Welsh cake hot top plate. So I've just got that nice and ready. I'm leaving that to warm up. And then it says to roll out the dough with a heavily floured mat. I did use quite a lot of flour. At first I was going to just do all the dough at once, and then I decided it's better to do it into little batches. And then to cut, so it says to roll and to cut into 8 wedges. So I just tried my best to cut it into the wedges. As you can see, Josie Jug, aka Juggy Wuggy, just made a little appearance for there as well. Then once they were ready, I took my little wedges and I put them onto the hot plate. Now on the recipe it doesn't say anything about any oil, so we just put them on dry, and I actually decided to do 3 different types. So here's the first one, doing them dry. So just add them onto the pan. So then I just flip them halfway through and let the other side cook, because that's what I said, until they're golden brown. And I think this is the closest I would have had with it. So here's the finished result of the first batch, which I cooked dry. For the next bunches, I decided to try one with butter, which would have been saying that they had, but it was heavily rationed. So I did try the next ones with butter. So this time I added a little bit of butter to the pan and just let it all melt in, and then I added them on. Now they did cook an awful lot quicker than we did have with the other ones, obviously due to the fat. Then this was the finished result. So as you can see, they're a lot more crispier and everything on here. They do look really tasty. Then the last one that I wanted to try was with oil. Now I didn't have like any oil from the time, but I do have rapeseed oil, crisp and fry, which is 50 years old, so quite vintage. Not this particular one, but the brand is, so I just added there. Now these ones, they did, obviously because of the oil, spit a bit more, so it's a bit more caution when cooking them. So here is the finished result, all 3 different types. So that's dry, in butter and in oil. So the first one, the dry, I personally give it a 4 out of 5. My mum give it a 4 out of 5 as well, and my sister give it a 3. This one, it was nice, and it does go as like a good version of bread with breakfast. So this one with the butter, we did all enjoy this one. So we all give it 5 stars. This one, it did feel more of like a pancake type consistency rather than like a potato bread, but it was really tasty as well. And the last one, which was cooked in cooking oil, we all rate that a 4.5. It was again really nice. It did resemble more of like a fried bread like you would have on a cooked breakfast. So very happy with it. So again, these are wartime ration recipes. Potato peat was created during the wartime to help people with their rations and, different ways they can cook and make the most out of food that they have. Again, this recipe is different to like the normal traditional Irish ones. It is used to be with rations, so that's why there's no eggs or anything like that in there. Again, it's only essentially two items in the recipe, which is just flour and potato. You also just add a bit of salt, but it's relatively easy to make and pretty tasty as well. So I was very lucky. I managed to find the potato peat cookbook online, and I'm also going to be posting the recipe below for you guys to have a look at. But yeah, I definitely think it's something that worth trying, and it's quite a nice recipe. We all enjoyed it, and it's a good alternative as well to like traditional normal bread.